I welcome all of you for the session on Introduction to Control and Feedback. First of all, we will see what are the things we are going to see. Overview. First of all, we are going to define terminology, what is control and what is system. Then the types of control system, open loop system and closed loop system. Examples for open loop system and closed loop system. And types of feedback, positive feedback and negative feedback. And what is the effect of negative feedback on gain, parameter variation, nonlinear distortion, bandwidth, disturbance and noise, accuracy, input impedance and output impedance. So these are the effect of negative feedback on parameters. Then branches in control, applications and references. So this is the overview of the topics which we are going to see today. Let us see first what is a system. A system is a collection of components connected together to perform certain objective. The system has an input and an output. So at least a system has one input and one output. We call that as single input, single output system. Examples: automobile, nervous system, microwave oven, refrigerator, fan. All these have one input and one output. If you take automobile, for example, it is collection of components like engine, steering system, chassis, braking system. All these collected together to perform one objective, which is locomotion. So it receives petrol as fuel and or input, and give locomotion as the output. Like that, nervous system, microwave oven, all have arrangement of components to perform certain objective. For microwave oven, we have heating as the output. What is a control system? A control system is an arrangement of physical components connected or related in such a manner as to command, direct or regulate another system. It is same like a system, but the function is to regulate another system. Example, here we have electronic control unit for engine. All of you know about engine. Engine have a desired speed and optimized fuel. So to achieve optimized fuel and desired speed, what we are going to do is we are going to have an electronic control unit. This electronic control unit is also a system which takes proper fuel injection and proper spark timing to control the engine output. So this is an example of a closed loop system or a control system. So we have seen what is system and what is the control system. Now there are two types of control system. One is open loop system and another one is closed loop system. Open loop system does not have any feedback. We are not going to take the output and we are not going to feed it back. So difficult to control output accuracy. Accuracy will be poor in open loop system. Whereas if you take closed loop system, it must have feedback, must have sensor and output, and almost always negative feedback. So closed loop system will almost have negative feedback, and we have much accuracy in closed loop system when compared to open loop system. Example for open loop system. Here what we see is a battery and a resistance connected together. We have a DC amplifier, we have a DC motor and rotating disc. This we are going to adjust the voltage using the resistance, and the DC amplifier will amplify the voltage and give it to the DC motor for the rotating disc to rotate at the proper speed. So this is an open loop system. An open loop control system utilizes an actuating device. Here the actuating device is a DC amplifier to control the process without using feedback. We are not going to measure the speed and take corrective action in open loop system. Whereas we can see a closed loop system where we have a tachometer to measure the speed at the output and correct it with the input so that we will have accurate rotation of the speed. For example, if I want to have a rotation of 5000 RPM in the speed of rotating disc, if the actual speed is 4900 RPM, the tachometer will give that voltage, and this DC amplifier will give an amplified voltage to correct that 100 RPM, and it will be rotating at 5000 RPM. If it exceeds to 5500 RPM, the tachometer will still give the voltage, and DC amplifier will give a reduced voltage so that from 5500 RPM, the DC motor will rotate to 5000 RPM. So this tachometer is useful for giving feedback and achieving accurate output. Again, closed loop control system uses a measurement of the output and feedback of this signal to compare it with desired output. So examples we are going to see for closed loop system: a person steering an automobile by looking at the auto's location on the road and making the appropriate adjustments. This is one of the example. When a driver is driving a car in the road, he have a desired path as well as the actual path. So by visually seeing the desired path, he will correct using the steering mechanism and he will go in the desired path. So this is one example. Another example is level control of fluid in a tank. So through visual, the the man will see the level of the tank. If it is more, he will open the valve and let the fluid out and reach the level, proper level. If the level is less, the person will close the valve and make it reach the proper height. So this is level control of fluid in a tank with man in the closed loop position. Next one is temperature control using room heater. Let us have a room. If the temperature in the room exceeds, the room heater should be switched off, and if the temperature in the room falls below the required temperature, the heater should be switched on. So by switching on and off the heater, we regulate the temperature in the system or room. Next one is cruise control in a car. In this example, the speed of the car is going to be set constant. How we achieve it? We measure the actual speed, compare with the required speed. If it is not proper, we are going to either open the throttle or close the throttle. By opening the throttle, we speed up the output. By closing the throttle, we reduce the output. So by this way, we are going to control the speed of the car. Okay, then multivariable control system. So far we have seen single input, single output system. Now we are going to see about multi-input, multi-output system. We are, instead of having one input, one output, we are going to have so many inputs and outputs. We call that system as multivariable control system. Here you can see comparator, which compares the output with the input and give that error to the controller, and the controller gives the decision making signal to the actuator. The actuator makes the action in the process, and the process is corrected according to the desired output. Example for a multivariable system. Here we are having a steam engine power generation system. In this, we are having inputs as feed water, fuel, and air. So fuel and air goes to the boiler, and steam is produced from the feed water, and this steam is sent to turbine. It drives the turbine and the shaft connected to the generator, and the generator generates the power. So what are the required thing is desired generation. What is the amount of electricity we want to generate, and what should be the amount of oxygen for proper combustion, and what is the temperature of the steam, what is the pressure of the steam. All this has given us our input to the computer, and the computer calculates the output and regulates feed water, fuel, valve, and speed governor. All these things are manipulated in such a way that we achieve actual generation with the required generation. Hope you understand this multi-input, multi-output system. Here we have multiple inputs and multiple outputs. Okay, so far what we have seen is what is a system, what is a control system, types of control system, and multivariable control system, and examples for it. Now we are going to introduce feedback. What is feedback? In feedback system, a signal that is proportional to the output is fed back to the input and combined with the input signal to produce a desired system response. We have already seen this in a closed loop system. What we are seeing is from output, we will take part of the output as the input and compare with the input and take corrective action to achieve the actual output. So this is what feedback is. The definition of feedback is. It is invented in 1928 by Harold Black, engineer in Western Electric Company. So what was the problem he was facing is methods to stabilize the gain of amplifier for use in telephone repeaters. So he has a lot of amplifiers. No, he has to stabilize the gain of amplifier for use in telephone repeaters. Let us see this in detail later. Let us see feedback. So what we are having from output, beta of the output is fed back to the input, compared with the input, and output works accordingly. There are two types of feedback. One is positive feedback, another one is negative feedback. Positive feedback, if you say, is the process when the output is added to the input, amplified again, and in this process it continues. So just to visualize this one, from this output I am taking beta times the output and adding this with the input, and again this is amplified, again output is given back, again it is amplified. So like this it goes on. This is called positive feedback. It is used in the design of oscillators and other applications. And now what is negative feedback? So what we are going to do is beta times the output is taken and it is subtracted from the input, and again it is given to the amplifier and output is taken. Like this manner it continues. The use of negative feedback reduces the gain. Part of the output signal is taken back to the input with a negative sign. So this is negative feedback, and most of the applications, more than 99%, we use negative feedback. Let us see why later. Now, transfer function. Okay, what is transfer function? If you see, it is defined as the Laplace transform of output to Laplace transform of input with initial condition 0. So far we have seen in time domain. Now we are going to see in frequency domain. Transfer function is also defined as impulse response of the system. So I'll tell you this one later. But why we are going to transfer function? Let us see first one. A problem in time domain is difficult to solve. So convert the problem into frequency domain where it is easy to find the solution. Finally, convert the solution in frequency domain to time domain. So this is the reason for using transfer function representation. So we are going to see transfer function because why we go for transfer function is the problem is difficult to solve in time domain. We convert that problem into frequency domain and we find the solution in frequency domain, then convert that solution into time domain. By this way, we solve the problem easily. That is why we are going to have transfer function representation. So let us see the system in terms of Laplace transform. C of t is the output. Now we have C of s. R of t is the input. We have R of s. G of s is the system. It's in the form of transfer function. H of s is also, which is in the form of transfer function. And now let us see what is the overall gain C of s by R of s. That is the overall gain of the closed loop system. E of s is given by R of s minus B of s. Watch my cursor carefully. E of s is equal to R of s minus B of s. Again, C of s is given by, C of s is this one. C of s is given by G of s into E of s. Now you substitute the value of E of s from here. We have G of s into R of s minus G of s into C of s H of s. Because B of s is given by C of s into H of s. Now take left this term. G of s into C of s into H of s. Take it left. We have C of s common for both. Take C of s outside. We have C of s into 1 plus G of s H of s is equal to G of s R of s. Now take this one down. C of s by R of s is equal to G of s by 1 plus G of s H of s. We call this as closed loop transfer function. This is overall gain of the closed loop transfer function, which is G of s by 1 plus G of s H of s. It is simple algebraic manipulation which we can easily reach this G of s by 1 plus G of s H of s. So effects of negative feedback on gain. Now due to negative feedback I have achieved this transfer function which is G of s by 1 plus G of s H of s. What happens to the gain? G of s is the open loop gain, but C of s by R of s is the closed loop gain. Feedback reduces the gain by a factor of 1 plus G of s H of s. You see, G of s is the open loop gain, C of s by R of s is the closed loop gain, and this gain, closed loop gain, is reduced by a factor of 1 plus G of s H of s. So this is the price we pay for beneficial effects of negative feedback. The gain decreases in negative feedback. Open loop system G of s, closed loop system G of s by 1 plus G of s H of s. This is the price we pay for the beneficial effects of negative feedback because the gain is reduced. Okay, this gain stabilization we have already seen. This is the requirement for Harold Bloch in 1928. So Harold Bloch, the problem is how to stabilize the gain of an amplifier. Let us see how it is stabilized. This is the problem faced by Harold Bloch. Now in telephone repeaters, even though the gain of the amplifier changes, but the overall the gain should not be changing. So that is the requirement of the Harold Bloch. Let us see what is the problem. Design an arrangement with a stable voltage gain of 100 using a high gain active amplifier. Determine the effect on the overall gain of the circuit if the voltage gain of the active amplifier varies from 1 lakh to 2 lakh. So what is the question is, amplifier A will vary in gain from 1 lakh to 2 lakh, but the overall gain V0 by Vi should not vary from 100. Again, I repeat the problem. The problem is this one. A, the active gain A, it varies from 1 lakh to 2 lakh, the gain. But the V0 by Vi overall gain should not vary from 100. It should be fixed in 100. How I am going to achieve this? This is the problem faced by Harold Bloch. Okay, this is the closed loop transfer function again, which we have seen G of s H of s. Like that, the same way, here we have x0 as the output. So if you multiply x0 by A into A, you will get x0. Input is xi, B x0 is the feedback. x naught by a is equal to xi minus b x naught. Rearranging, x naught by xi is equal to a by 1 plus ab. Okay, this is the overall gain, and a is the open loop gain, g x naught by xi, that is the closed loop gain. Okay, how gain stabilization is achieved? I am going to choose, carefully listen, I am going to choose AB, this AB greater than 1. Therefore, if AB greater than 1, 1 plus AB is equal to AB. Okay, 1 is negligible, so 1 plus AB is equal to AB. So x naught by xi is equal to a by AB, a in the numerator and a in the denominator get cancelled. We have g is equal to 1 by b. Okay, because a and a get cancelled because 1 is negligible. So therefore we get g is equal to 1 by b. What we want the overall gain to be 100. So g should be 100 means b should be 0.01. If b is 0.01, you will get g is equal to 100. Now you substitute 1 lakh as the amplifier gain A and b is equal to 0.01. We get 1 lakh by 1 plus 1 lakh into 0.01. You get 99.90. So gain of the amplifier G is 99.90 for a gain of amplifier A 1 lakh. Okay. Now the amplifier is increased from 1 lakh to 2 lakh. Gain of the amplifier is increased from 1 lakh to 2 lakh. So you substitute it here and B at the same value 0.01. So we have 2 lakh by 1 plus 2 lakh into 0.01. We have 2 lakh by 1 plus 2000, which is 99.95. So you see G, the G closed loop gain is 99.90, and here also G is equal to 99.95. So what is the point? The point is, even though the gain A changes from 1 lakh to 2 lakh, the gain G, overall closed loop gain G, did not change 0.0. The overall gain just changes by 0.05%. This is the first point. That this point is important. A change in the gain of active amplifier of 100% causes a change in the overall gain of just 0.05%. Thus, the use of negative feedback makes the gain largely independent of the gain of the active amplifier. However, it does require that B is stable. Fortunately, B can be based on stable passive components. By choosing carefully B, we can stabilize the entire amplifier properly. So this is the solution for the problem faced by Harold Black. This is what he found out. Okay, next one is reduction of nonlinear distortion. Let me see the graph. In this graph, V0 is the output, V is the input, and A is the gain, open loop gain. A is the open loop gain. You can see A is more nonlinear in nature. It is not linear. Now I plot B, the closed loop gain B due to feedback, and this gain is almost linear. So what happens due to feedback, the nonlinear distortion gets reduced. So this is one of the effect of feedback. Nonlinear distortion gets reduced due to feedback. That can be visually seen. B is more linear than A. Effect on parameter variations. So what is the point here? If some parameter varies in the system, what is going to happen? Let me come to here. Okay, G of S by 1 plus G of S H of S. In this, the system is G of S and H of S is the feedback. If the system G of S varies by a factor of del G of S, what will happen? So that is what we are going to see. So here you see G of S plus del G of S by 1 plus G of S plus del G of S into H of S, where del G of S is the parameter variation. So C of S by R of S is equal to G of S by 1 plus G of S plus del G of S into H of S plus del G of S by 1 plus G of S plus del G of S into H of S. So what I am doing is I am separating G of S and del G of S. Del G of S H of S is smaller than G of S H of S. So del G of S H of S can be ignored. We have C of S by R of S is equal to G of S by 1 plus G of S H of S plus del G of S by 1 plus G of S H of S. So what happened here? We have del G of S is reduced by a factor of 1 plus G of S H of S due to feedback. So this is the important point to remember. The point is, due to feedback, the parameter variation del G of S get reduced by a factor of 1 plus G of S H of S. So this reduces the parameter variation, which is desirable one. Even though if the parameter of the plant varies due to aging or temperature, the overall system reduces that parameter variation and the effect is negligible. This is the most important point to remember. The parameter variation is reduced by a factor of 1 plus g of s h of s. Okay, effect of feedback and load disturbance and noise. Here we have a system in which C is the controller, P is the plant, D is the disturbance, N is the noise, Y is the output, R is the input, F is the feed-forward controller, -1 is the negative feedback. So again I repeat, P is the plant, N is the noise, D is the disturbance, C is the controller, F is the feed-forward controller, R is equal to reference, -1 is the feedback, negative feedback. Okay, so from this what we can see is Y is given by N plus, N is the signal, N plus P into D plus U. This P into V, which is almost D plus U. Therefore Y is equal to given by N plus P into D plus U. So this is the first statement. The next one is U is equal to C into E. U is equal to, here U is equal to C into E. E is equal to R minus Y. So F we have taken 1, therefore R minus Y is equal to R minus Y is given by E. So you substitute E is equal to R minus Y. Again you substitute that U is equal to CR minus CY. Therefore Y is equal to N plus PD, P into D plus, what is U? You substitute this U value here. You have D plus CR minus CY. Again Y is equal to N plus PD plus PCR minus PCY. You multiply by P inside. Then Y plus PCY. This PCY you take left hand side. Therefore Y plus PCY is equal to N plus PD plus PCR. Y is common in this term. So you take Y outside. Y into 1 plus PC is equal to N plus PD plus PCR. This is the important statement. Y into 1 plus PC is equal to N plus PD plus PCR. So what I do, N is noise, D is disturbance, R is reference signal. Now I make D and R equal to 0. If I make D and R equal to 0, we have Y by N. This Y by N is equal to 1 by 1 plus PC. This is called noise transformation. The next one is Y by D. We are going to make N and R both equal to 0. Therefore, Y by D is equal to P by 1 plus PC. This is known as disturbance transformation. And Y by R is equal to PC by 1 plus PC given D is equal to N is equal to 0. So this is reference transformation. What is important to see is what happens to noise and disturbance. Noise and disturbance gets smaller because of the value of 1 plus PC. So the effect is noise is attenuated by a factor of 1 plus PC, and disturbance is also attenuated by a factor of 1 plus PC. So 1 plus PC should be high if you want to make output less sensitive to noise. At the same time, 1 plus PC should be high. It makes output less sensitive to load disturbance. So load disturbance and noise are reduced due to feedback. So that is the important point to remember.